Alright, so for the sprint review meeting, the goal is just to go over the sprint that you've created in Jira and get feedback from each of your developers in terms of where they are. So this is the final chance of committing their status to your Jira. So let's say that your developers have forgotten to close Jira's or they've mistruck their status, you go ahead, you don't penalize them, and you close the Jira for them. And so every of the Jiras are gone through one by one and closed appropriately. What would you do then is keep track of your team velocities. So for each of the features, they had an estimate originally. So let's say your entire sprint was mapped to 20 ideal days. And then you would go to every of your features. If that feature is completed, 100% meets the definition of done and is allowed to go into the test environment, so it's ready for testing by clients, then you would add that estimate towards your team velocity. So let's say for here, we have the feature of D07. It met my definition of done. This was 10 days, so I would add 10 to the team velocity. Here, let's say we have N03 for table of content. However, this was also done. So let's say this was 5 days. I had 10 days previously, plus 5 days. My team velocity is 15. So let's say for the config mockup components of context, my poor developer did not manage to finish the task or the speech. So, even though he's done some significant progress, he might be at 50%, 75%, 90%, he still gets a 0, and so no points are added to the team velocity. So here I have 15 days in terms of my team velocity for the sprint, and I close the sprint, and I'm aware of the 15 points of velocity. You might also take this opportunity to do a demonstration of your work to clients for the sprint. So we can go into that later. However, the goal is to get really their feedback and opinion in terms of how the work has progressed. Did your analysts, your developers understand the work to be done? Did they react on it appropriately? And are there any readjustments to be made in spite of this work? Because sometimes, your team did the work appropriately and the clients decide to change their mind, or when maybe we see the final product, we decide that, it didn't really meet your original vision, or you shed light on details they didn't think of, so they're going to rethink. After the sprint review meeting, we're going to move on to the sprint retrospective meeting. Typically, this is done right after your sprint review meeting, and you can choose to involve your product owner